Miss Hugan, where are you? Where are you, Miss Hugan? Hey, who's here?
Hi, who am I talking to now?
Joe? Joe? I-
Joe Mynhardt, yes.
you're Joe Mynhardt. Mynhardt, right? It's not your time yet. What are you doing in my screen?
Who are you?
Uh,
I'm looking for
Leaper?
Werner.
That name is Graham Leaper.
Sorry?
Graham Leaper. Did I make myself clear? Graham
Graham,
Leaper.
Graham
Who
Leaper,
do
okay.
you think I was?
Well, I'm looking for Werner Schmidt.
Oh, Werner! Him and I, we were just working on the story of Chelsea Glitter. Is this all about
Okay,
that?
yes, yes. I'm in the
Fantastic.
right place, thank goodness.
I'll quickly go fetch him and I'll see you in 70 years or so. Right. You
Sure.
have a good one.
70 years.
How's it,
Hey,
Joe?
Werner.
Good to
Hey, good
see
and
you,
you.
man.
Ah,
Yeah, good, man.
thanks for being here.
Thanks for being and thanks for being here, man. What a
Yeah.
fantastic conversation. After many years of interesting coffees and and
Yes.
and other and other substances across dinner tables and lunch tables.
Mm. No, definitely. And welcome to the House of Shadows and Ink. For the first
Thank you.
time, first of many, I'm sure.
Wow. Debutante.
Oh, yes, your debut novel. Well, fiction,
Yeah.
for us at least.
Yes, indeed. What a wonderful thing, fiction is truer than truth sometimes, eh?
Yep. Okay, well, I just met a very interesting character. I don't know if you were aware that he was there. Um,
He called
or
me. Yes,
do
he's
random
gone to.
people or like beings just walk through your house?
Yes, he's gone to retire. He's gone to retire to the shack at the back of the chapel on the graveyard on the hill, So yeah,
Nice.
he's had a long day, and it's wonderful to have had one of these final touches conversations with him regarding the 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 introduction of Chelsea Glitter to the world.
Nice. Well, I can't wait to I don't want to say release, but unveil Chelsea Glitter upon
Mm,
the world. I mean,
same here.
there's so many yeah, nostalgic, but familiarities to life and like experiences and books that I read as a kid
Mm.
that all comes across in this book. Because I mean, it does
Okay.
cover a lot of ground for a kid's book, a youngster. I
Yeah.
mean, where would you place it? Middle grade, young adult?
Young adult and lovers of universal fairy tales. People who liked Graveyard Book, people who liked um, Book of Life, the Corpse Bride movie, that
Mm,
kind of thing. It's that quirkiness of young adult energy. However, uh, the themes, like you say, and the characters. I mean, I've got a GoPro on the shoulder of a baby, a 5-year-old, 13 and 12-year olds, adults, uh, and ancient grandfathers, including the Graham Leaper. So yes, the joy I've had in being with the GoPro on the shoulder of these characters. I'm really hoping that those of those ages or of those maturities will also enjoy the story that flows through some serious topics,
mm.
hopefully with some empathy and humor and even a bit of enthusiasm.
Oh,
Yeah, if
definitely.
you get to know Graham Leaper, you know he's very enthusiastic about his job.
Well, I've met you and I know you're enthusiastic about
Mm,
everything you do, which is
mm.
like I think was immediately a draw because I mean anyone who's passionate about what they do, anyone who's as driven as we tend to be, it's like we just flock to each other, which is awesome. I love that.
There's something magnetic to it. I think,
Mm,
uh, and enthusiasm. it's I think sometimes when it's hard to generate, it becomes a choice, and then it becomes a kind of a habit. I recently said to someone who asked me about, we just never see you down. And okay, you don't see me in my down times
Mm.
because I've got the switches and the hacks into my flow, into my enthusiasm. But the word effervescence, like effervescent tablets in water, like
Mm.
effervescence, I think every one of us can find that thing. We go through dark depths, and some of us, particularly in my case, if you see some of the themes I've touched upon in the story, being with those themes by default is something that really drags you
Yep.
to depths which create all kinds of depressive pressures, and then to be blessed with this the creative process to work through it and then to submerge again, to breach.
Mm.
So yes, indeed, it's wonderful to find our own unique voice and then to resonate and with a team like the Crystals, the Crystal Lakes and Coves, and Kids,
Nice.
and all the sub brands branching out like some kind of compound octopus. You guys are becoming, right?
Mm. I like that. Well, let's go with root system maybe. Okay.
Root
Yes,
system.
we're digging underground for all the weird and wonderful
Mm,
stuff out there. That's cool. So,
like that.
talking about like the person that you are and who you've become and this author, and we're gonna get to the current version of Werner Schmidt in a bit and how you got into the story. Let's start at the like way back. Like, when did you realize a few things? Like, I'm creative, I'm like im massive imagination, and when you write songs, you perform, you're an entertainer, you're a motivational coach, you're like a speaker, you are like all these things that a
Mm,
lot of people want to be, just like
mm,
little bits of, and you're like the full package kind of thing. I mean, since I've known about you,
mm.
you've been always busy, always, and if there's not an event, you make an event. You like get the
Hmm.
whole thing going. So I mean, what
That's how I
age?
love getting involved. Yeah, it's
Yes.
if I can be part of the billing, I'm then part of the story of whatever is happening. I'm
Mm.
part of the marketing, part of the strategy, the planning, the operations.
No,
And
it's a great way to
I think
learn.
yeah, that switches on the energy. It's like if I can play with everybody on stage, like with you and the incredible global team of the crystal phenomenon.
Mhm.
It's like I know that I'm gonna get to play on stage. I'm gonna do readings. I'm gonna do online and in-person storytelling. I'm gonna sing the soundtrack. I've already got the main song down and
Nice.
working on producing it, and the rest of the soundtrack with all these clear characters. And it's so wonderful, this thing of since childhood, I could never watch tennis, Wimbledon or Roland Garros for more than a few games. Then I had to go out with racket and ball and
Mm.
find buddies to go and play with. I just could never be the one to watch
To
other
only
people
watch.
live
Mm.
out their stuff. And
Sounds very familiar.
and it's yeah, if we can do it, it's just
Mm.
so much more fun. And yo, this when I realized this, well, part of creativity is the temperament of, or let's call it the characteristic, psychometric characteristic called intuition. So I had a very different career up to about 17 years ago. I was chartered accountant. I had qualified up to a LLM master's degree level in taxation, just to burn out 3 times. I recently released
Mm.
a podcast called The Start Show, From Burnout to Effervescence, which is literally
Nice.
season 1 is my story, the search. And I basically resigned out of that profession on a whim and said to my wife and everybody who knew me, I'm going consulting. And what really happened was I was just sitting with a laptop in coffee shops, listening, dabbling, and by then I had become aware of a story of healing of childhood, of my own childhood trauma that had surfaced. The title, the themes kept recurring, and I started capturing these while consulting, working with business, working with leaders, working with strategy, but dabbling and tasting. And it's wonderful how masters appeared, real teachers appeared. It's like they were waiting for me to jump the cliff to find out I
Mm,
have wings that I can grow on the way down. And
mm,
wonderful mentors, teachers, tormentors, tricksters. You know, it's like my experience of Joseph Campbell's work, the hero's journey work, and the archetypal hero's journey. It's like I almost feel a bit cookie cutter, like, wow,
mm,
how accurate are all these stories from all the cultures around the world that if you go out of your comfort zone far enough, you're going to find all these characters that are going to help you discover what you were born to be. And the beautiful thing is you're going to return to where you started from, and you're just going to be this completely next level integrated package. Um, and the theme of revisitation in my work as leadership and culture architect, revisiting story ideas. This story came from a children's play that came from a game that I played with my daughter. It's actually,
cool.
it's so wonderful, the revisit. Why doesn't a picture want to go away? It keeps flashing,
Mm,
and then just revisit, and almost like the grit inside an oyster. Accept this grit, this irritation, and then put layers on top of it. And few years, 5, 6 years down the track, you and your favorite graveyard driver, groundskeeper, and gardener, Graham Leaper, can put finishing touches on this world of the first of three novels. So
mm,
yeah, that's me getting to the roundabout version of answering your question, coming from burning out 3 times in a highly paid, highly professional environment, and looking back, it's wonderful to know that I was working with the analysis of other people's results
mm.
stemming from their dreams. And I realized I have to stand at the canvas of possibility with my dreams and with those
Huge.
I call clients. So once again, when I'm allowed to stand shoulder to shoulder with someone's personality discovery and self-leadership discovery, and from there on help them enthusiastically visualize their prosperity picture across relationships and money and meaningful work, etc. Then I'm enthused to bring all my gifts long term. It's like
That's
I
nice.
know I cannot burn out again.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, and I mean, I've, like you said, we've had many meetings, many coffees, many drinks together, and it's always good to chat with people who are as enthusiastic or even more. I'm like an introvert enthusiast. You're more of an out extrovert, sorry, enthusiast. It does.
Ambivert, introvert in the mornings.
Mm,
I have my daily creative work in my man cave where we are now. So the birds wake me up, and I
nice.
have this deep inner work and creativity and writing and working on my creative projects. And then when I hit the traffic of human connection,
Mm.
I seem like Tigger the tiger. But people like, uh, what comes to mind, people like Eddie Murphy, same kind of thing, has to drink from the deep waters, inner waters, and then when you overflow,
Mm.
you look like the comedian without a pause button. But
Well, it's good for my soul, like, hanging out with you. So,
same
um,
here.
it's and I always tell this to authors and creators, like, don't work in a vacuum. Like, get out there, meet the other people, work with them, ask them what they're doing, like, go to their workshops. Like, I mean, really, like, there's a whole world out there, and we're actually kind of like cutting ourselves off for no reason other than this is how it used to be done, kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh, all the stuff about the lone struggling artist and that stuff, it doesn't have to be that way anymore.
yeah, yeah. Well, we need both. I see it like we come back to the middle. It's like a flower.
Mm.
We have to go out to our extremes, like the petal of the flower, and that's where we do our stuff, which is our unique voice and our unique stories. But like you say, that once again the revisit. Come back to the center. Come join the pollen, the pollen of togetherness.
Cool. So let's
Um,
let's dive back into, so for those who haven't seen the cover yet, like we're gonna put it nice in here.
nice.
Chelsea Glitter and the Graveyard on the Hill. I
Mm.
mean, the cover says a lot. Like the name
Yeah,
says a lot.
the cover is quite an inciting moment, and I love the conceptualization of what should be on the cover. End of chapter 4, and you finding, and I love the story of you in your global network of illustrators finding an
Mm,
illustrator that ended up in the same town as me, the same town as us, and me meeting him after having gone through all of the through publisher tweaks, just to say, what, Johan, is
yeah.
it you? That's
Thanks to
wonderful,
Johan van
Johan.
Rooyen for the cover. Yeah,
Yeah.
what are the odds? I mean, we've got
Mm,
a bunch of artists working for us all over the world, and it came down to basically the style that we're looking for and a bunch of other factors that also came into
mm.
play. Uh, but it's like everything was destined to happen exactly in this way. And
Yeah.
I think we're still busy with that road. It's going to
Mm.
be very interesting to travel down this road with all of you. Can't wait.
Yeah. For sure. So yeah, sorry, you were asking, we didn't get past the cover.
Well,
What I love the inciting moment. Car
so
barrel rolling
yes.
with the Grim Reaper and Raven on shoulder and scythe in hand, presiding over this barrel rolling vehicle on the highway. What's gonna happen next? Yeah, what did you want to hear?
So without giving too much away, for those
Hmm.
interested in the story itself, what can we tell them without giving too much away?
Oh, very simply, it's this, and the I don't think I want to sing the theme song yet, but I know it off by heart. It's the prologue. This is the story of Chelsea Glitter and how she came to be alone, unable to escape way after dark. The graveyard on the hill, brimful of skull and bone. She had lost so much, too much for one girl to bear. More danger lurking, with a spider's music stirring the almost winter air. The ancient yew tree cut a somber shadow over the stony, watchful eye of the chapel gargoyle, presiding over all who came to die. But first,
Nice.
we need to turn the clock back 7 mysterious days. Chelsea Dog's parents, 11 months old Felix, on their way, on the highway to a birthday party, about to forever part their ways. And then it goes back to
Cool.
this is the story of Chelsea Glitter. So it's literally this, what happens after this family of humans and beloved dogs, freeze frame, barrel roll in the air, and
Yeah.
it's a half and half story. Half of two humans and a dog pass away. Two humans and a dog stay over and stay behind in the land of the living. And I've got a GoPro on
Wow.
a number of shoulders in this story, and we see what happens in the afterworld and in the land of the living. And me saying afterworld. Um, I shared with you with my check-in the other day how marvelously um, the deaths of William Shakespeare, Anne Hathaway, and Hamnet, their son, worked beautifully architecturally into it was once again one of these destined things. I thought at some part of the story I want to bring Shakespeare in and some centurions. I want to bring some centurions into the afterworld in my exploration of possibility there. And then when I looked at how and when Shakespeare, Hamlet, and his wife Anne Hathaway passed away, it completely fit my architecture of how my imagination suggested the afterworld works. So
Hmm.
that's also something to look forward to.
Interesting.
There's also some bonus material. I just couldn't stop myself from creating this wordplay festival with Shakespeare and his son Hamlet reuniting in the afterworld, and him rewriting his entire first folio, but with afterworld knowledge now,
Hmm.
and them performing in Stratford Graveyard, performing As You Ghost Like It, the afterworld version of As You Like It. So
Hmm.
that's also something which I'm gonna once the marketing starts after release, I'm most certainly gonna make a nice performance piece
Cool.
of those two vignettes of Shakespeare and Hamlet with Anne Hathaway part of the graveyard audience, and their afterworldly play. So is that enough of a
Yes.
giveaway
No, I think
without giving enough
that's perfect
too
because I
much
mean that
away?
that explains what kind of story you're like
Mm,
what's coming, but also makes me even more intrigued. Well, not
mm.
me. I'm familiar with the story, but
Yeah, yeah,
it's been a while. So
yeah.
I think for listeners now, I mean, if we haven't hooked you yet,
Mm,
if you are a fan of, more scarier stuff,
mm,
tell them about like the aspects of horror, death,
mm.
grief, all these
Yeah,
like
yeah.
serious topics
We
that's
have
in this
themes.
book.
It's sprinkled, it's and I'd like to, I kept it. I tried to keep it balanced to not make it,
Mm,
so the horror is suggestive and almost. Yeah, I kept the mystery on the horror. For instance, from the get-go, after this freak accident with that barrel rolling vehicle, for instance, nature, the fog became a character. Like
cool.
you see, wow, the fog actually starts playing a part in some of these afterworldly soul's journey. I created, and it's wonderful how I wrote the story after framing it, and then at times I got bored and said, one of my own, where the story comes from, the oldest question is I was 5 years old around the dinner table and I asked my mom and dad what happens after we die because one of my school friends had passed away and I wanted to know. And
Mm,
they gave me a very binary, I want to say, unthinking answer that they had heard from others,
mm,
at church and in family and so on. And I said to them, if death's like that, I don't want to go. It's
mm,
boring. And so one of my rules for myself as writer here was it can never be boring for me because I mean, how's it going to be for the reader? So at some point, I also got bored with part of the story, so I decided to create some villains, some memorable villains um, in this architecture of you have souls that stay on in the graveyard for a while, and then rebel souls that manage to escape and go and wreak horror
mm,
on the city center, for instance. Um, but then create ties between them, and even the horrific aspects of the villains. And I mean, you're going to read them in the free preview,
mm.
which we're going to release. And by now, by the time you view this, it would have been released. It's called the Creepy Pastafarians. I must say, looking back, I'm finding it hard to choose between which of the groupings and which of the characters I like the most.
Mm,
And I really love the fact that I got there to say I wrote villains and good guys and girls, and ghosts and
yep.
people. that I really like um, as part of the world. So yes, indeed, um, death happens. Family gets ripped into this great tragedy. Another, there's another one, two, three, four deaths which happen in the story where I show the work of the Graham Leaper on a daily basis, his daily commitment, his role in the graveyard on the hill with Miss Hugan, his beloved raven. Jochen, I love a raven, man.
Mm.
Ravens, yeah, they are so fantastic. So, with his beloved Miss Hugan on his shoulder, his rusted scythe in hand, and them puffing along the highway to the city and back. Um, in the rusted wreck called the Gravemobile. So I show another four characters apart from the those passing away
Mm.
in the glitter barrel rolling motor accident. I show another four characters passing away. Um, but yeah, it's I strive to really tastefully do this, and I talk about after the fact, different ways in which, like all of us, our unique ways that we find our last breath when we give up the
Mm.
ghost, as Graham Leaper so eloquently puts it. And yeah, so it's really dealing with the both and the cognitive dissonance, if you want to use a fancy word, of um, those passing, those staying behind. What are the connections? Both, yeah, not giving away too much, but yeah, the the search possibilities and the non-boring, yeah, make the most of your life, make the most of your death.
Mm.
Um, you know, um, having to one up myself the whole time by keeping even passing away and being aware of that for some of the characters. Keep it keep it real, keep it mysterious, keep it interesting, keep it
Mm.
exciting. There's dangers in the afterworld. Everything's not sorted out. Everything's not stable. Everything's not this big loud hailer saying, "Okay, everybody, show's over." That's what I believe in. I would like to believe as well. And yeah, so that's a mouthful, but hopefully that gives
No,
you trajectory as well. There are
and there's some proper humor in there as well. I mean,
for
it's
sure
just
my
part of
dad
who you
jokes.
are. Yeah.
My children roll their eyes at my dad jokes. My daughter, she's turning 17 soon, and she's a great inspiration for the story. She was the first one to read the free preview, and it was this testimony. She's almost 17. She came back. She said, "Oh, this is good. This is good." So yeah, that was really good to hear, and so they rolled their eyes at my dad jokes, and she said the other day. Her father's got a degree in psychology when I tried to crack
That's good.
something.
Mm.
And I found, I think, in this story, and often with people, I tell about how lame my dad jokes are. I found a new audience for my dad jokes, and I
Yeah,
think
true.
some of the characters, particularly Chelsea's dad, Thomas, with he's a professor in literature, and when she heckles him with her teenage energy, he says, "You're such a professor," and he says, "Professor of literature, no less." So he's this real funny dad joke engine, and I could just live freely through him. Say,
Nice.
nobody's going to stop me uh, uh, with using it through him. I must say the character uh, Graham Leap himself is fond of
Mm.
chuckling, which I think is also the character that he represents. Graham Leaper sounds like
Yeah.
ellipsis dot dot dot. Graham Leaper sounds like, and he explains where his name comes from and why perhaps some people um, hear his name incorrectly when he introduces
Mm.
himself when it's time, and why that is. And he likes a chuckle as well. He's a he likes the female species. So also an interesting man to have created. Also
Mm.
inspired by a composite of teachers and mentors and grandfather figures on my road. So also a lovely
Nice.
composite testimony to the great love I have for um, the ancient elders on my path.
Looking for a bit more fantasy in your life? Something with magic, mystery, and a graveyard that won't let you leave. 7 days after the crash, 13-year-old Chelsea Glitter stands in a graveyard staring at the moon. She cannot leave. This is not a great sign. Chelsea Glitter and the Graveyard on the Hill by Werner Schmidt is a young adult magical realism novel about grief, identity, and what happens when the line between life, death, and everything in between begins to dissolve. The fog keeps finding her. The gargoyle keeps moving. A door in a yew tree fades in and out. And the Grim Reaper, well, he has opinions. For fans of the Graveyard Book, The Book Thief, and anyone who has ever stood somewhere and sensed they probably shouldn't be there. Chelsea Glitter and the Graveyard on the Hill by Werner Schmidt.
Nice. And the name Chelsea Glitter, I mean, any story behind that, or how did you pick
Mm.
it?
My daughter, she's making notes, right? She
Mm.
says all the royalties you earn, the the literary empire you build with Chelsea's universe, you're gonna give me special privileges from all the income and in your estate, because the inciting event for the story within the story, which you find in the novel, was it's a game between myself and my daughter when she was 3, where she brought she made up a monster that wanted to eat my frogs on the carpet in her room on a beautiful spring morning with net curtains billowing. And I just, in that moment, I had, no, 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 not on my watch. We're going to create a frog that can stand up and blah, blah, blah. And they tricked the monster. That was the inciting event for a children's play. And the children's play came and went. It was a wonderful success about 12 years ago. But the nugget, the core of the story didn't go away. So I searched for something around which to use that story as an inciting event,
Mm.
or some kind of meaningful trigger. And then along the road, this idea of that scene of freak accident, which, by the way, that freak accident happened for real in my network. And a lot of the descriptions that I got for what happened while the family was barrel rolling, I got from people who lived to tell the tale. So that's also something real from my life, which never went away, and now I've brought it into the story.
Scary.
And then my daughter, my wife was in an incident with traffic cops, and like pulling her off, and the children were small, so for them it was quite traumatic. And my daughter, I have to, it's gonna be, the world's gonna know that Pietro Mori came up with this. She said, next time, if that happens again, and she was small, she said, I'm gonna, if they interrogate me, she was scared that the cops were gonna interrogate her
Mm.
as a 3 or 4, 5-year-old self. And she would say, she said to them, I'm gonna tell them my name is really Chelsea Glitter. I thought, what? What a nice name.
Wow.
And I just stole it, So I'm that wonderful father cracking dad jokes and stealing
Mm.
you know,
Intellectual properties from your kids.
IP from your daughter.
Oh, that's
Hey man,
cool.
but I mean, I'm recently Mother's Day. Um, you know, I got a good chuckle out of the family with this one. I said, this Mother's Day, we're focusing not on the mother as such. We're focusing on those who caused her, and now increasingly enable her to become a mother. So it's the father and the children. So also from a daughter's perspective, she can say what she wants. I was the inciting event for her coming into life. Candles, red wine. So yeah, I can go a bit further back and say, hey, there's some IP there as well.
Mm. Well, I mean, if I'm sure your creativity and everything inspired her as well to, explore and basically tell
Mm,
you these things and not just, some kids
mm.
will just keep it for themselves and because the parents don't even
Yeah,
want to
I
listen.
must say, and that's been marvelous. I describe it in my podcast as well, that literally, as she took her first breath, as I stood 30 centimeters from her in hospital with her first breath, it was very close to the end of my third burnout. So it's like I couldn't take any further breaths where I was. So it's almost like my creative rebirth. Literally, it's like my inner child got its license
Mm.
from her. Once again, I was the inciting event for her. But still, it's been a wonderful partnership, Joe, and she had this phase as a youngster. I've got artwork um,
Cool.
that I had a wonderful artist in my network made charcoal drawings of certain very memorable postures, portraits that both my children, son and daughter, had, when they were really young. And my daughter had this. She would suck up story, Peppa Pig, Barney, just name it, just on repeat, all good stuff. She would just like suck it in, soak it up, and then like I myself watching tennis as a youngster, and then she would just at some point she would start filling to a level where she couldn't handle it anymore.
Mm.
And she would go outside and she would run in the garden like this fairy under the trees. And I would ask her, what are you doing? She was like mumbling and making weird guttural ancient noises. She wasn't speaking. She said, no, I'm telling myself stories. Like, what? How cool is this? And it was literally daily rhythm for like a few years. Like soak it all up after doing your chores and what. Soak it all up and then overflow and then you have to release it somewhere creatively.
Mm.
So I called her Huckle Fairy Finn in that time, also on the
Cool.
portrait. So great inspiration as I found my voice, went through Healing Through Trauma, my first book self-published. 8,000 people downloaded it. I wish I'd asked $10 for it. I gave it away for free, but it's nice to say it's not a bestseller, but it's a best giveawayer, that kind of thing. And then went into songwriting and a poetry phase, two
Nice.
volumes of poetry, also deep, dense stuff, which I needed to I think solidify some threads on my inside just to come to a
Mm.
place where now serious theme, Chelsea Glitter and the Graveyard on the Hill, and the two books to follow. Serious theme, however, with a kind of an effervescence. It's like I had to get my effervescence as a creative and approach this in a way that's moving and pacey and interesting and asking a lot of questions. And
Mm.
this is for me the
Good.
greatest breakthrough is when I'm not no character giveaways, but when we realize that even those who have passed on for a significant amount of time still don't know all there is to know.
Mm.
Man, and that I must say that as an enthusiastic switch, that was like that's my clinch of saying this story is not going to be boring when even those who have passed on the longest in the story, there's some very serious questions they have no answer to. And yeah, so my good questions lead us forward, Joe.
Well, it's good to know even a dead person can have an arc. I mean, you
Yeah, yeah.
kind of keep on living, uh, in a way.
That, as you pass further away,
Mm.
all the
Nice.
afterworld's a stage. That's what Shakespeare said, not me. Um,
So I have to ask, because I'm quite curious. What do you read? Like, where's your passion at the moment?
yeah. Um, that's a very, very tough one just because of my uber busyness with getting Chelsea to market.
Mm.
So at the moment, I read my book to make sure one more time it's fine. Um, when I do read, I must say this theme of young adult magical realism, including universal fairy tale.
Mm.
You and I spoke about the movies I listed, movies like Sixth Sense, the others, Graveyard Book, the book, Corpse Bride, um, the Book Thief,
Book Thief.
that
That's I
kind
was
of
trying to
thing.
remember the name now.
The
Book
book
Thief.
thief, yes, yes,
Yes,
and
brilliant.
also the narrator in the book thief, even though he's a bit, I must say, he's a bit serious and dreary compared to there's two narrators, of which one is a surprise. You might have met him earlier. I've got a dual role for a character which you may have met in the first minutes of this video, and yeah, so. Then this thing of give me something compelling, something on the edge of reality,
Mm.
but with that fantastical edge to it. As a child, when something gripped me on TV, when the credits started rolling, all the others would go brush teeth and what, and I would go and stand there
Same.
and hunt for the following phrase, based on a true story. Whoa, it's like what? It's
Mm.
it's that reality can be this fantastical, and I think it goes back to one of my favorite quotes from Albert Einstein, where he said, either you see life as or nothing in life as a miracle, or you seek for the miracle in everything, or the miraculous
Mm.
possibility in everything. And it's that once again that enthusiastic true north. So when a story grips me like that, I'm trying to think of the writer of The Boy in the Striped Pajamas.
Oh,
Oh,
yes.
integrating that with the Nazi tragedy, and he also wrote another book, and I can't remember this book, but this book was about serious loss, similar to Chelsea's what Chelsea had lost, and then infusing it with Pinocchio, a kind
Mm.
of a Pinocchio infusion, man, and it's just so compelling because you're back in childhood mode, but you're dealing with something almost impossible to handle,
Mm.
and I think that's also for me. Um, the songs I reference, I use music a lot. That's another thing. Wow, I had to strip away at first my first manuscript. You were the great advisor there to say, well, try to get try to get um, try to get the um, authority or the what's the word, stamp of approval. Try to get the approval for the lyrics. That's anything younger than 95 years, and you're going to be either spending
Yep.
yourself to bankruptcy or never get it. So I had to find creative ways in which to drop certain well-known songs of the
Mm.
last 95 years. One of them is Camille Saint-Saëns' The Danse Macabre, which is a very old classical composition of the dance of, like some of these stories, Book of Life, etc. The dance of the living and the dead, and also to say the best life is where we are almost, we are hooked, we're arms locked with the Grim Reaper or the Graham Leaper, however
Mm.
you'd like to see him or
It's
her.
true.
That the possibilities there every day, every moment, and embracing it, almost memento mori. I think the Stoics also, you guys have infused memento mori in some of
Yep. Our
your,
magazine.
yes, your magazine, right? And it's remember our mortality, and let the full acceptance. The more you accept that, the more fully you can say, man, this moment is so,
Mm.
for me, that's the switch to Einstein's possibility. That makes this moment of just two guys talking about a book over the internet. This is the stuff of miracles
Mm.
because the Memento Mori. So I think it's my inner stoic that also helped with this book. Lots of music, and what I loved is certain of the classics of the last 95 years also have just they've never gone away. I've had to bring them into my baritone ukulele repertoire, and then I asked this myself, why do those songs, why didn't they go away from I
Mm.
have to sing it when I do my originals and covers for people? And so I said, okay, let me use them as mechanisms in the afterworld. And wow, it slotted in so nicely
That's cool.
with a soul, someone gives up the ghost last breath, and then the soul is like a baby in the afterworld. Let's stop there. But yeah, new at this, never been here. Oh my word, overwhelmed, numb, whatever, and that's why some people think Graham Leaper's name is something else.
Mm.
But so then they use these classics from the living years to usher the soul through some phases. And I
Mm.
mean,
That's good.
once again, the care that implies. Once again, not boring, not boring. There's care, there's embrace, there's community, there's whatever. So
Well,
I almost
I
sound like I'm looking forward, like my one grandfather, who's also a great inspiration and definitely one of the composites. Um, Grandpa Hannes, one of the composites that made it to the at times the driving force. Graham
mm.
Leaper has moments where he's just unstoppable, other moments where he's completely inept and fuddy-duddy. It's a wonderful character. But in the moments when he's driving, Opa Hannes comes through, and Opa Hannes at a family member's funeral, and I love the food at funerals. And that's also referenced in the book. There's a 9-year-old boy at a get together with one of the characters passing in a house. When people get together
Mm.
in the household, and there's eats and drinks also. And this 9-year-old boy is me reliving my just stuffing my face at funerals when I was a youngster. And my grandfather, he elbowed me with that grandfatherly voice. He said, I can see you looking forward to my funeral, ain't you? And
Okay.
I must say, on his funeral, I did remember that moment, and it was a
Yeah,
great moment. And
I'd start
I
laughing
did
out
live it
loud.
up. I did live it up. I had a feast at my grandfather's funeral, as he prophesied.
Yeah. Oh no, that's awesome. Well, I mean, I can kind of predict, or I believe that this is the kind of story that can become like a classic must-read situation for well, the type of books that you were describing, people who enjoy those kinds of books on like the edge of reality, like one foot on this side, one foot on that side, exactly as the book is.
And who's where? The
It's a
the, the mystery of
must-read.
but who's where? And seeing how close they are, I referenced that um, dreamland and the door to dreamland and the afterworld are very, very close
Mm.
to each other, even the world of dreams, that kind of thing. So yeah, how close we are, and once again, that's the memento mori. It's so close, and the mystery of, but who's on which side? I play that. That's
Yes.
that's the first. That's the first major joy that I had into the first major twist of this story is, but who's where?
And I mean, this was a long journey for you. This book has been a few years in the making.
Indeed. And it's lovely to have gone through with all these lenses and saying, okay, I'm now super critical, super analytical.
Mm.
I want to these mysterious authors. I want to catch them with their little devices in trying to fool me. So bringing
Mm.
in, oh, that was so delicious to even play the detective and say, how can I use devices to make the sleight of hand all the more convincing.
Mm. You got to know the rules to break it. You got to know all the tricks to hide them. No,
Too
that's
true.
excellent.
Yeah, yeah. And let's see, there's only one way to find out, Joe, and it's to say Geronimo. And yeah, thanks for saying Geronimo for this work with me. It's really been fantastic
Oh,
with your
yes.
team thus far, and looking forward to what lies ahead, man.
And I really can't wait to start getting feedback from readers on this. Like, I think people are gonna just absolutely love it. And for those interested in just like, that sneak peek a little bit, the link is in the description. We'll put it right at the top, where you can go and download a free sample. Um, but my stamp of approval guarantee, like, just go and get the book. That's
Yeah, yeah. And
you
we'll
won't.
create buy links. You can buy as
Yep.
many copies as the internet can supply. We promise.
And a good Christmas gift, birthday gift, especially I think for a teenager with, like there's a difficult time coming up, like 14 to
Yeah,
16,
yeah.
17. I'd think it's a perfect book to kind of get you through that stage of life.
I agree, Joe. And this thing of life and death, it's something many people think about, wonder about, and I this is probably I think the greatest achievement that I'm proud of is that I didn't replace the fixed beliefs that I was fed as a 5-year old with other fixed
Mm,
beliefs or anything. It's just like this. It's this curious, kind, humorous, empathic questioning. We're allowed to question and just open ourselves up, open our imagination up to possibility. And then with this whole there's a line where Miss Hugan speaks to Graham Leaper and he says, it's also in the quotes at the front before the prologue where he says something to the effect of, it's true, Miss Hugan, the death mourn the living more loudly. I wish sometimes the living would listen and live more. And
that's
and
good.
that thing, it's once again the voice from there, um, who's making the most of his life and or death, you'll find out. Saying that kind of thing. And then I think just to say, question curiously and empathically and with I want to say with a healthy scientific heart,
Mm,
without trying to become dogmatic or anything. I think that's the fun in the book for me. Thanks
cool.
again, man.
No, anytime. From me, I like Death is Only the Beginning, and what a grand adventure the afterlife might be.
Who knows?
Who knows? Like
Only one
something
way to find out and
something
may
to
it
be
happen in
excited about.
70 years.
That's awesome. Well, Werner, we wish you all the best. Like you've got our support from this side, but all the people out there, check out Chelsea Glitter and The Graveyard on the Hill, and the books to come. Check out Werner's website, links, everything, social medias, like we said, like singer, songwriter, poet, musician, like everything, author,
Mhm.
uh, motivator, guest speaker, whatever you want to call it. I've seen
But
you
the
do it.
golden thread is the miracle of the single character
Hmm.
and his or her journey through this
Yep.
world. And I mean that's what gets me to run in the mornings from 4 a.m. to my man cave to stories. So yeah, I'm looking forward to meeting many characters on this reader writer road.
Hmm.
And yeah, Joe, thank you. And for all of us with this, as part of your expansion, really fantastic to be part of the mix.
Cool.
And yeah,
Glad to
looking
have you.
forward to what this other side, the other side of this video holds.
Well, stay in touch and
Will
good
do.
luck. And we'll keep an eye out on the book and the aftermath. See what happens.
Aftermath in the afterlife. I'm going to see you
Cool.
soon, Joe. Have a good one. Thanks for your
Okay.
time.
Cheers.
Bye bye.